Well, hello there. Not camera shy at all. Yeah, so I treated it for ick. The 2 survivors that were originally in the 10-gallon with the mollies that survived are the 2 Cory catfish, which I am so happy because, you know, they were the first fish that I got in the beginning for the 5-gallon. I had 2 Corys and then I had the beta because I just wanted, you know, the Corys for the ground feeders for when the beta doesn't eat everything, like if you put in a couple flakes and they could just clean the bottom or, you know, whatever there is to clean. I think they may eat some algae too, I'm not sure, but I just thought they're good bottom feeders. They'll keep the bottom of the tank clean in the 5-gallon. So I upgraded and thought, you know what, I could add some tetras because they're smaller, they don't pose a threat to the beta, and the beta will get along with them. It was a total opposite. They were like little piranhas and they tore my little beta apart to pieces. I mean, they just shredded him up overnight. Well, at first I thought, you know, he was just, you know, maybe losing, you know, a little bit of fins and stuff. Maybe they regrow them. I didn't know. He was just looking kind of raggedy. And I thought that's just natural, you know, for them to start changing the way they look. And then the second day, boom, he was bald. I mean, he was bald like he'd been attacked. So I caught them in the act. I went to go turn the light on, and this is the true story. The tetras had him in the corner, over here, just like where he's at, his favorite little corner. Yeah, you've been through hell. Did they hurt you, little Diablo? Never again. It's never gonna happen again. They're growing back. They don't look the way they originally were, but it's okay. I just can't, it's amazing to me. I cannot believe they grew back because he was pure bald. He was floating at the top of the tank. I had to put his food right next to him because he could not swim. He was just floating there because he had no fins and barely moving around. So after he got beat up, I nursed him back to health in the 5-gallon, and I did put treatment in there for, like, you know, just for conditioning the water and stress treatment and stuff like that for fish. I'm just going with the natural lighting from my window. And yeah, so this is kind of an update on my tank once again. So these are the goldfish pellet food from the 98-cent store. This is 98 cents. It is pellets, so you're gonna have to break them down if you have smaller fish. Well, I do anyways, because they're hard. And I feel it's just a better thing to do for my fish because they're not gonna be able to fit them in their mouth, and it's gonna take a long time for them to soften up. So what I do is I put them in a Ziploc, and I use just your regular wooden roller that you would use for cooking, and I just, you know, roll them out, you know, give them a couple taps and break them down. You can put them in a food processor too. So this is a new one, and this is the one that I have broken down already. If you can see, it's kind of like a nice chunky powder. Yeah, so I feed them brine shrimp, the frozen brine shrimp you could get from your pet store. And when I'm not feeding them the brine shrimp, which that could get pricey, and we all, want to save money and, be budget friendly, even when you're doing your hobbies, if you can, do it. Go for it. Save some money. I do give them the goldfish food because the cories are ground feeders. They're going to eat whatever's on the ground, and they are scavengers, so it's not going to hurt them. It's broken down so good that my beta will even eat it if some of it's at the top of the tank. So I'll give them that in between feedings as far as the brine shrimp. So what I do is I feed them probably around 6 o'clock every night, and I only give them enough to where my beta gets fed, and there's a little bit at the top, and whatever's floating at the top that I don't want the beta to eat, because the beta doesn't need to eat that much, I knock it down. So what I do is I use a wooden spatula or something like that that's clean, that I use for the fish tank to move stuff around when I'm cleaning it, and just putting stuff in place when the water's in there. I just knock it down and make sure it falls to the ground for the cories to eat. So the cories have the ground to graze off of, because they're gonna just eat whatever they feel, and then they just leave it when they're full. So they're not gonna overeat. I'm telling you right now, cories are pretty cool because they will eat what they want until they get full, and then that's why you see a little bit of stuff on the ground, because I fed them last night and they didn't eat it all. And I gave them the goldfish food, so that's why it looks that way. Yeah, so that's just my little trick. And also you could get the tropical flakes, which I do keep them on hand too, because you don't want to give them the same thing all the time, because you want them to get the nutrients that they need. They are living creatures and they need nutrients, and I think they need a little bit of, everything. So the tropical flakes from Walmart are a good buy, and that's where I will get those. And sometimes I will even get the beta flakes or the beta food. But now that I have the cories in here, I usually get the tropical flakes. It's just good for everybody. And yeah, and then I have the goldfish food, and then I get the shrimp. So the shrimp is a little bit pricey, but you get a lot of frozen cubes, but it's gonna cost more than these gold fish pellets, and it's gonna cost more than the tropical flakes at Walmart, but it's well worth it because it does last you a long time. You get a lot. So you could get those at Petco and PetSmart. Yeah, and whoever has a fish tank most likely already knows that. Of course, you're gonna get fish food and frozen fish food at the fish store. Or the pet store too. Yeah, so anyways, I haven't rehearsed nothing. I'm not using my tripod, and I just whipped on my camera and thought I'm gonna do an update because I did get a comment on one of my fish tank videos, and I want to say thank you too, because I really appreciate it that somebody told me thank you. It helped them with their fish tank. So I'm really happy about that. So you're welcome, and thank you for the comment. Yeah, so I caught them in the act. That's how I know, because I couldn't figure out what was going on, because this is a rare situation. That's what someone told me at the pet store, but I don't know. Those little tetras, they could get aggressive, okay? Especially when they're running in the pack. They just had it in their heads that they was like some little piranha gang or something, okay? So what I did was I turned on the fish tank light and was thinking I'm gonna go feed them. Right when I turned it on, I caught them in the act once again. They were right over here in the corner. They had the beta backed up in the corner, and they were just like bing, 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 like just hitting their little faces on them. Like they must have been taking little pecks at them, like biting them and stuff. I couldn't really see what was going on. I just got my little spatula, which I use to move stuff around in the tank when water's in it, and I kind of just put it in there real softly and just kind of wave the water around. Like I made the water just wave around like just to break up the fight, because I looked at the beta and I was like, oh my god, overnight he was pure bald. He did not have no fins whatsoever. ever, except for the 2 tiny fins on his side that he, the 2 tiny ones that are on his side that actually help him turn around and stuff, like those little ones. I guess his little hand fins, I guess you would say. Those 2 little tiny ones. So he was floating at the top of the tank for a good 3 weeks. I did not think he was gonna live. I was like, he's a goner. Like, dang, I can't believe this. He's gonna die. I thought he was gonna die, but I kept on putting just one little shrimp next to him in the 5-gallon, and I relocated him to the 5-gallon. I started putting treatment in there for the slime coat and injuries, and I was just keeping an eye on him. And then he would swim on his side at the top of the tank because he had no fins. He was just floating. So he was a big hot mess. And then slowly but surely he started eating after he was traumatized and got his booty whipped. And then he started eating more. He started looking better. And then while he was getting better, that's when I decided, hey, I'm just going to have him in the 5-gallon tank by himself. I'll just keep the tetras in here, the 10-gallon, and get me, some type of other fish that's going to be a little bit bigger, because I only had some tiny little tetras swimming around. And, they are the fish that is going to fill this area, the top of the water. I only had 2 bottom feeders that are not really out all the time. They just, come out and feed, and sometimes you don't see them. So I got the 2 mollies, and that's what started the whole egg situation. So after everybody didn't make it, and the cories did, they are really hardy fish. The cories, I've learned, are hardy fish. They made it through the egg treatment, and they, stayed strong and healthy. After that, I decided I'm not going to get any other fish. I'm not going to put my little cories in danger. You never know. Even if you quarantine them, I'm not taking the risk anymore. And I just decided after Diablo started showing growth in his fins, I was going to put him back in here with his cory homies, and it's your guys' tank now. I'm never ever going to bring no outsiders into your world again. No, I'm playing. No, I'm messing around. So that is the drama. That is the 10-gallon tank drama. Yeah, there was some real drama going on. There was fights. There was ick. There was a little bit of fungus. Yeah, so you want to keep an eye on the temperature, and that's what I was actually doing. So I took the heater out. It's summertime, and during the summertime, it actually stays just a perfect temperature most of the time. But when we get into the 90s and the 100s, when it's kind of a consistent thing, like, it's 90 today, it's 90 tomorrow, it's 92 the next day, like it's 100, that's when it starts to get higher in temperature in the tank. So what I do is I do water changes, which you're going to have to do because, it's just good for your fish. So I do water changes when I see the temperature going above 80. If it goes above 80 or 81, that's when I'm doing a water change. There was drama in the tank, and that's what hobbies are about. It's like, stuff got crazy. There was like tetras beating up the beta, which I never thought would happen. It was a crazy situation, especially when I caught him in the act. I was like, damn, I should have got it on camera, but sometimes you're just not ready for something like that. And I was like seeing my beta get ripped to shreds. Like, it was when the light was off too. Like, they knew what was up. Like, wait till the light goes off. Yeah, and when I turned the light on, I was just like, oh my god. Like, I had to get my little spatula, and I had to just, swish the water around. And I just made the water kind of wavy, so they would just, break it up. And then I got my beta out. I put him in a little jar for a minute, and I just used some of this water in this tank. And set him in there, and I got the 5-gallon ready, thinking, okay, what am I going to do? Because I couldn't figure out, really honestly, like, what's going on with him. He's looking all raggedy and stuff and stressed out. Because when the light was on and, they were just all swimming around acting all normal. But I guess when the lights were out, he was getting his butt kicked. I don't know, okay? Yeah, so the cories and my beta, which is Diablo, Fauci, and Newsom, they're getting along great. You could tell that the beta has no aggression whatsoever towards them. He is just a sweetheart. He is a sweetie pie. He swims around with them, and you could tell when he rubs his little fins against them and stuff like that. He's never using his aggression as far as when he puffs his face out. He never does that. He just swims with them and plays with them, and you can tell like they're all enjoying themselves. They eat together and everything. Yeah, so he turned out to be a real sweetheart. So I still have food on the bottom here, and that's the goldfish food, the pellets that I broke down. And this is just for money saving. If anybody out there wants to start this hobby and you don't want to put too much money into it because you know you got to learn, you got to adapt, or even if you just want to save money and you already have a tank, like they have those pellets at the 98-cent store. And you could use them in between feedings because you could save on your expensive stuff. So it's good to have a variety of things because it just makes a good balance on your budget and just for the fish to have a variety of different foods to eat for the nutrients. So yeah, so it all works out. Making sure I check the temperature. He's really smart. Okay, I took the heater out because it's summertime and it's for a 5-gallon tank. I put it in the 10-gallon, so everything that I had in my 5-gallon, I'm using in my 10-gallon. Even the filter. Everything works fine. So it's filtering the tank just like it did the 5-gallon. And this is the one that came with the 5-gallon. And the heater I bought separately. It actually heats the tank perfectly during the wintertime. So during the summertime you don't need it, so I just unplugged it, I put it away, and yeah. When you're cleaning your tank, you don't have to buy no $10 sponge, you know, just make sure you have really clean hands. And these right here, I pick them up from the dollar store. I think you get a pack of like 10 of these. This is mainly for the fish tank. After you clean your fish tank, you could run really hot tap water and just squeeze it out, let it dry out, you know, just let it air dry. Or you could even boil them a little bit. And, you know, just make sure they're completely clean and okay for your tank. And yeah, so what you do is you just give it a dip in the tank. My hands are clean right now. And then you're going to do this. See how you see the water spots and it's getting a bit, you know, just dirty looking and you want to clean this. You're just going to go like this. And then you could do it a second time. And then you just clean the outside of your tank with like a paper towel and whatever you would clean your glass with. And this actually cleans it and it stays clean. The only reason why it starts kind of getting a bit dirty is because when the food kind of hits the window and the stuff that's still floating gets stuck to it, or when the water is evaporating during hot weather, or when it just evaporates naturally, even during the wintertime, it's going to have those water spots and stuff. And this right here just does the trick. It does the trick for me, and you save a lot of money. And then, you know, after this is used, you know, a few times, you could reuse it, boil it, you know, keep it clean, just wash it off with just water, no soap, no nothing, and squeeze it out, let it air dry, and then, you know, for $1 at the dollar store, you get 10 in a pack. So you're saving some money. Yeah, so you could save money and have your hobby at the same time. You know, it's a family thing. It could be for yourself, for your office, for your bedroom. It could be for your living area. You know, this is just a nice visual, and it's a hobby, and you can switch it up whenever you want. And, you know, turn the light on at night when you just want to enjoy it. And yeah, it's something to look at. It's something nice. What you doing, Fouch? What you doing, little Fouchie? What you doing, little Fouchie? Yeah, so I'm gonna end this video because it's getting crazy now. No, I'm like, I'm messing around. Yeah, it's getting crazy now. With the video, shut it down, shut it down. Thank you for watching, and I will be doing a water change, a full water change, and I'm gonna be switching the tank up. So I will be uploading that when I do it, and I may be adding just one more fish that is budget friendly. He's only $2.98, whether it's a he or she, I don't know. And it doesn't get that big. It's a bottom feeder. I forgot the name of it. If I decide I want to quarantine it and go through all that for $2.98, I will do it, because I have to get some frozen brine shrimp anyways, and I'm thinking about it. So I may just do a video on the water change and switching the tank up, or I may be adding a little frame for Fauci, and Diablo. See how they get along. After I quarantine, the main thing you gotta remember when you're getting new fish, I learned my lesson. Quarantine, quarantine, quarantine. I'm gonna be quarantining him for about 5 days, and I'm gonna be watching his little butt, believe me. He or she, whatever. Okay, well anyways, I'm gonna go. I hope you enjoyed this just as much as I have. Once again, this is a hobby. You know, it could be for you, for your office, for your home, you know, for your family. You know, it could be just because you want a hobby and you just want to do something. And you know what? It's something nice to look at too. So, I'll see you in my next video.